Saturday, and thanks everyone for joining. Today I wanted to do a carryover on what we talked about in episode 9, and we talked briefly about how humans and people are involved in technology, but a little bit from the perspective of technology, of security. Sorry, and just overall health of technology. So here's the thing. I know for a fact that out there in the world, right, that the bad guys that we're constantly, for people like me, constantly having to deal with and protect our clients from these folks. Well, here's what happens. They are not, if you look at hackers, the bad guys, right? They're not reducing the amount of manpower required to infiltrate other businesses or other companies or even personal computers. They're in fact increasing that. And well, why is that, right? Well, because they know that human beings we're more intelligent, right? And we can do more than just technology, right? And on the flip side, what we have protecting us against these bad guys is this kind of scenario. And I'll talk about a particular detail, a real event that I've witnessed, and it plays itself over and over again. But here's the thing. So what we have protecting us is just technology and very little people. The problem with that is that, and I know firsthand, that no matter what technology you use or what company you bought it from or whatever, it is just that technology. It's not smart. It behaves and reacts, and it's got rules to do things by, but it is always, always vulnerable to the bad guys. Always. Now, so what happens here in the business world and even at the residential level, the consumer, right? A couple of things. We are taught this foolish ideology that if we have technology and we get antivirus software, we'll be safe and secure, right? But not true, right? Because two problems, right? One is, well, like I said before, technology, that it is prone to, it is not intelligent, and I would definitely not put all my eggs in just technology to protect me, right? And the other aspect is that us as human beings using computers, right, we do stuff, right, that sometimes might compromise or create a situation that technology can be compromised, right? And in today's world, right, if your devices get compromised, right, the thing that the bad guy wants to do is not allow you to know that they're there, right? Very covert, very secretive, very under the covers. So that is what we need to be worried about, right? And so you have the bad guys. They're investing in having technology and having people run their technology, right? And then we have the good guys, protection, right? Where we have this crazy notion that if we invest and spend lots of money in technology, we'll be safe, right? And then people, well, having people manage that stuff, well, that's a huge cost, right? Why would we do that? We don't have any problems, you know? And then, so what happens is that companies, or again, even residential customers, right, or people, they put their faith that the technology they bought is going to save them or protect them. And then, but they never look at it, or they never question it, or they never look deeper and further as to what issues are. Or from a company perspective, they don't have people digging down deep and questioning results that the technology platform is telling them, right? And So things get missed, and then compromises in security happen. And because in today's world, with computers being much more powerful, you might not necessarily notice that there's an issue, right? And then the next thing you know, you have tapping into your bank account, or somebody compromising other aspects of your security, or stealing data, or encrypting your computer and, doing a ransomware attack on you, right? So now I'm going to relay a little story here, something that occurred to me in my past, and I'm sure other techs could relate to this story as well, but it really underlines where our industry and where people that pay the bills for tech resources are going wrong here. And unfortunately, the lesson has to be learned over and over and over again. So a few years back, several years back, I had a client that I dealt with, and it was a fairly large client. Very, very important that the technology be up and running, right? Crucial to the business operations. And because of all that, we did invest properly in technology. Yes, for sure, right? Very mature infrastructure we put in place to protect everything. And everything was working good. Now, for me as a tech, what I did, and I did this upon myself, knowing that technology is technology, I created a series of checklists and things that I dove down deep in every morning. Yes, it took, a couple of hours labor, or, maybe not even a couple hours, maybe an hour or so, every day, to go through and results, look at performance reports, look at what was happening, as far as our attack surface and where we were being attacked from, and all that stuff, right? Just make sure that things looked just like they did yesterday, right? And then whenever I noticed a blip in how the technology I was supporting for this client was behaving, I dug deeper into that to find out, okay, why do I see this now, right? And when I could satisfy that why question, then I'd either solved the problem or accepted that and moved on. But the thing is, what's important here is that human, right? I, as a person, right, made technology that I was counting on to protect the client was doing its job. I didn't assume for 1 second that it would job on its own. Yes, I did rely on it to report to me and to bring things to my attention, right? But I always dug deeper in it and looked at things from several different perspectives to make sure that everything was working properly. Okay, so we move forward. Unfortunately, eventually, the business was sold to a much larger company, right? And I knew this was maybe not going to be a good thing, because they had their own ways of doing things and stuff. But that's fine. I did the professional thing and cooperated and worked with them and stuff like that. And at one point in this transition, right, I had someone in the new organization say something to me that will stick with me forever. And she said this: Chris, I don't know why we spend so much money on your services. Everything works fine. And I just looked at her and I said, well, that is why you spend so much money on my services, right? Because I make sure things are working fine. And I don't, I hate it, right? Even to this day, when a client has an issue and it's suddenly and we had no forewarning for that, which can happen, right? Of course, but I kind of take it a little personally that's happened, right? And that was no different back then, right? If things are running smooth, I'm doing my job, right? And it's kind of a crazy notion in the tech world, and I've got a lot of mantras or sayings. One of them is kind of detrimental, but it underlines the problem, is that if your environment, if your technology is running without issue and you never have problems, right, then your tech support people are doing a good job, right? If you have lots of problems, right, that doesn't mean your tech people are doing a good job. No, it means the exact opposite, right? And here comes the dilemma, right? People, whether on a residential scale or on a business scale, make decisions about spending money on support technology, right? They sometimes look at it that way and say, well, but everything's running smoothly. We can probably cut, 50% of our budget here and they'll still run smoothly. But I got to tell you, in the case of my story, when I still had some contact back in that organization after the fact, and I heard from more than one that security in less than 6 months became an issue, right? And what do? I can only say that it became an issue because nobody was watching the shop. And when I had that discussion and I found out that my services were no longer needed, I actually said that to the previous owner. I told him that, it's going to work probably for about 6 months or so. But if you don't invest in people and a person to manage all this stuff, right, as I had always done, things are going to start to fall apart and you're going to start to have problems. Well, that's exactly what occurred. So, I guess my message here with this is that we should be, I think that it's the bad guys, right? And it's really ironic, right? So here's what happens, and there's probably lots of different ways, but on the bad guy front, this is what the hackers will do, right? So they have a bunch of programs that could run around the internet, right, and look for systems attached to the internet. And if your computer or phone or whatever is attached to the internet, somebody can see you, right? And so these little programs run around and they look at things attached to the internet that are vulnerable. They don't have their updates up to date, or the antivirus software is disabled, or heaven forbid they don't have any antivirus software. And then when that little program finds something like that, right, it calls a human being, a human hacker, and says, hey, look, here's an opportunity. That person spends time to find out if that opportunity is worth pursuing. This happens over and over and over and over again, right? And what are we doing on the good side of things? We're saying, oh, well, we can just, spend whatever number of dollars on this security appliance or this piece of software or whatever, and we automate everything, automate all with technology. So we're relying on technology to protect technology, and we got a whole army of hackers on the other side who are outsmarting us. We don't have people watching the shop. And over again, I see this in businesses. I'm aware of a company right now that I have a relationship with, and they're shrinking and shrinking and shrinking their IT. And, I don't know for what point, right? because you're going to lose stuff, right? Your staff's going to become unproductive or frustrated or not supported, and you're going to have security issues and all that stuff, right? I will always say your best defense and helping out support is to have humans. And this brings me back to exactly what I do today with my clients. I set them up with technology for sure, antivirus for the health of their systems, right? Automatic backups system, right? But here's the thing. Every day, just like I had done in the past with that one client, right? I make sure all my clients are happy, that things are working right. And I do get automated notifications to tell me that there's problems and stuff like that. But I dive deeper and look at things in a much more detailed manner, right? On a basis, depending on the client's needs, right? I do this more often for some people, and at least once a month for others. And I watch the patterns and I look at how things are going, and that helps me say, well, it does two things, right? It helps me become technically familiar with that device, because everyone's technology will run and operate differently. And why is that? Because we are human beings and we use things differently and we do different things, right? So it's important that I understand how that interaction is actually affecting the technology in the back. And, I make sure that their antivirus and software is working. So, and like we've said before, right, every bit of technology, right, has the ability to report back to me that it's healthy. And if it's not doing that, I know there's a problem. And then we deal with it time, as opposed to waiting 6 months or so and the problem's festered, or there's a security breach that's existed forever and ever, and then so I'll leave that to new clients that have unfortunately suffered that reality and want to get right. So again, just to cap, for those decision makers, those people that have the hands on the person, they're looking at their technology and stuff from a, if you don't have your IT department sitting at the table with you at the CEO level, right, you're making a mistake. And I don't care how big your business is, right? You could have business that, 2 people, right, or 3 people. But if you're not making decisions about the business in conjunction with your IT, right, huge mistake. Because if IT is an afterthought, you're missing out, right? Because it can bring to light opportunities that you might not see or understand. Things can be there for you. So, and then on the residential side, right, same kind of message. We all use technology every once in a while. Why not have some expert advice on hand, right? So that you can prevent those disasters from occurring. You can at least be protected, eliminate the risk, right? And as a human being, I talk to my customers and I ask them, okay, what things are you worried about, right? And I ask those questions that also get them thinking about their risks, right? And this is true for residential or business, right? We need to be thinking about the risks, right? Put in place systems and processes to mitigate those risks, right? And it's true for everyone, right? So, big shout out to fellow techs out there doing the work. It's a hard slog, but hope that maybe we change how things are being done here, right? And we get back to investing into people and getting things supported. So that's it for today. I'll sign out now. I hope that and we will talk to everyone next Saturday. And if you join live, right, feel free to ask me questions. I'm more than happy to address them, or even maybe we spark another conversation based on the audience that's here. All right, so signing out. Talk to you later. All right, have a good week, everyone.